Barry, a patient of a mental institute who claims to be an abductee, takes hostage 4 people and wants to show everybody that aliens do exist, and Duane Barry is not crazy.
You, calling Duane Barry a liar now?
Fox is asked to intervene due to the unusual abduction claims.
Do we know anything about his abduction experiences?
You really believe in this stuff, Agent Mulder?
Is that a problem?
The first interaction does not go well though. Duane in fact is a former FBI agent, he knows the standard procedure, and so the negotiations get tricky.
Hey, what's your name? Mulder? I know the routine. Honesty, containment, conciliation. Am I missing something?
In an attempt to gain trust, Mulder tells the story of his sister's abduction and succeeds in his assignment, saving the hostages. Duane Barry gets temporarily neutralized, and while everybody's guard is down, he manages to escape from the hospital and kidnaps Scully, which up until this point was a distant voice of reason, and so we follow her to Ascension. Scully's life is in real danger. Duane might be telling the truth, but he is very unstable and unpredictable. Mulder is desperate as he watches Powerless trying in vain to save her. His new partner, Alex Krycek, is ominously scheming behind Mulder's back. Scully gets abducted, Duane assassinated, and Krycek disappears as soon as Mulder connects the dots.
Why? Because Agent Scully got too close to whatever it is they're trying to deny, because she had hard and damning evidence, that metallic implant in her possession, or because her termination would prevent further involvement with me and my work.
In a plea of desperation, Director of the FBI, Walter Skinner, reopens the X-Files.
As of right now, I'm reopening the X-Files.
But everybody watching can tell that it is too late.
Do you think Agent Scully's dead?
I don't know. How far do you think they'd go?
These 2 episodes left me speechless. The reason I start season 2 with these 2 I think it's obvious, but to say it in easy terms, this shit slaps. For a series of the 90s I did not expect such a move. Scully being abducted is ballsy, and for a moment you can almost believe that they killed her. Now, if I didn't know that there are 9 more seasons, I would have believed that Gillian Anderson's contract expired or something. The acting by Dave Duchovny is formidable and conveys all the fear and anger that we might feel as well. Truly a powerful decision. But considering the TV making of the 90s, 3 is the inevitable byproduct of such a decision. In typical X-Files fashion, after great episodes at least one has to waste your time. This one is a horny depiction of vampires, and probably was requested from the thirsty fans of Dave Duchovny.
My name's Kristen. It's a normal name.
AIDS. Aren't you afraid?
Also, the title is in reference to how many people liked the episode. I feel like nobody wanted this episode. I wonder what was happening behind the scenes to greenlight such crap, although probably it was just the need to make 24/25 episodes fast and cheap. In a perfect TV show, Ascension is followed by a good filler episode to give you time to process the trauma. Instead, we got 3, but it doesn't matter, Scully comes back and everybody's happy, right? Well, she conveniently does not remember anything, but don't worry. It's not a cheap gimmick, her comeback has great implications on the future of the show. Not so much in the 2nd season, but strap in. The episode is an entertaining watch. Maybe a bit corny, but we finally see Mulder snap.
Tonight I ask the questions, you're gonna answer me, you son of a bitch!
Don't try and threaten me, Mulder. I've watched presidents die.
Why her? Why her and not me?
Answer me!
I like you. I like her too, that's why she was returned to you. I told Skinner you shot the man in the hospital, but I didn't really believe it. And here you are with a gun to my head. I have more respect for you, Mulder. You're becoming a player.
Patience is running out. This man called Cancer Man is the key to understanding everything.
And that's why I'll win.
Now that the X-Files together with Scully are back, let me tell you about the first 4 episodes of the second season. Season 2 has this peculiarity in which even the episodes that should be detached from the main storyline, aka fillers, are not. They are connected through characters, small lines, or entire scenes. Now these connections are skippable, but it feels like I'm losing pieces along the way if I don't watch every single episode. Little Green Man is irregular conspiracy stuff attached to the main plot. It's a good episode that unfortunately makes a huge mistake of not reinstating the X-Files, because now, as the viewer, why am I watching a TV show called The X-Files, in which we don't have the X-Files? Allow me to elaborate. Going back to Monster of the Week, we have a parasitic creature living in the sewers. Mulder is assigned to the case, but even he doesn't care. Obviously this is an X-File, but the characters don't know this. Everybody's bored. Bored with their acting and bored with the monster. It feels like a chore. The episode is good if watched like a standalone, but I am reviewing it in the context of what role it has on the grand scheme of the show. Same could be said about Blood. The government is inoculating subliminal messages into electronic devices through specific frequencies, which result in everybody becoming paranoid and ultra-violent. In this case, I like the premise more. It's more creative and the execution is very well done. But I'm still waiting for the X-Files to be reinstated. A Vietnam veteran goes on a killing spree seeking revenge. A fine premise with a flawed execution. The opening scene in which a man dies in a non-existing fire is great, the rest, not so much. To add insult to injury, there are lines, scenes and characters attached to the main plot that are far more interesting, and so the Vietnam veteran, victim of sleeping experiments plot, fades into the background. Now it's time for Firewalker, in which an organism based in silicon is about to revolutionize the biology world and create chaos among this research team inside a volcano. Another huge miss, in my opinion, of Season 2, in which I feel like they wanted to recreate the feeling of ice. Isolated outpost and a scary mysterious plague, everybody's paranoid and it feels like there is no escape. I feel like they just changed the skin and nothing new was added. Extra points are deducted because how can you fuck up this premise? The Red Museum is what is wrong with Season 2, in my opinion. At first it looks like a Monster of the Week episode, but we learn that it is strongly attached to the mythology arc, aka the main plot. Local teenagers are found dead or semi-dead in the woods, which gives off strong pilot vibes, and that's good. But apparently the killer in this episode is someone who Scully recognizes as being Deep Throat's assassin. Well, by the end he dies, and we don't know anything more, so basically a waste of time. The journey was fine, but I wanted something more. You tickle my desire to know more, and then you left me empty-handed. The Red Museum is not bad, but not good either. A nurse gets raped by an invisible presence, and she swears she knows the Perpetuator, an old frail patient which leaves everybody confused. Excelsis Dei has a very interesting premise. Basically, the magical Chinese janitor / nurse is growing mushrooms, which cure Alzheimer's, but also open a portal to the realm of the dead, and so now spirits haunt the place at night, and also the patients eating the mushrooms can see the ghosts, or maybe just this one lady. The plot is confusing to say the least. I won't say don't watch watch it. Actually, I encourage you to watch it and give me your opinion. I find the episode wild. The rape nurse is forgotten and nobody cares about her story, and the Chinese character is treated in the worst magical foreigner trope I've ever seen.
Now they have been awakened.
Are you saying that a spirit killed this man Upshaw?
Yes. They've taken revenge for their mistreatment.
I was not expecting this level of unhinged from the show. Mulder and Scully are called in by a local field office when the body of a long-dead FBI agent is found by a local police detective in Aubrey, Missouri. The dead FBI agent died in 1942, but the detective who found the body, Inspector B.J. Morrow, can't quite explain why she was digging in the location where it was found.
I mean, unless there was a neon sign saying, dig here.
I guess that's why we're going to Aubrey.
Yes, and also I've always been intrigued by women named BJ. BJ.
The local police also have a strange murder on their hands. A young woman who had the word sister carved on her chest. When Morrow's boss, Lieutenant Brian Tillman, first sees the crime photos, he thinks the FBI has information on the most recent murder. But the photos are over 50 years old. There is a connection of some sort between the dead and the living. But basically what I understood from watching this episode several times is that the consciousness of a victim of a serial killer, that sounds familiar, possesses a not yet born baby of a police officer, BJ for friends, which is also the granddaughter of the serial killer, or something like that.
Stop it!
Somebody's gotta take the blame, sister.
No, you're not him.
Another theory is that the baby inherits the evil of the serial killer, so now the police officer is perhaps evil?
You have his eyes. You're him.
But maybe not. Maybe the serial killer possesses the police officer, who is his granddaughter, and now he kills again.
How does it feel to be on the other side of the razor, brother?
Nope, now she's killing him. Alright, it's one of those messy ones. Let's give it a D and move on. Mulder and Scully are in Minneapolis on the trail of a serial killer who likes to collect trophies from his victims. The killer is Donald Eddie Foster, who goes by Donnie. He likes young women, especially blondes, and he keeps a lock of their hair or their fingernails as trophies. He's also taken to digging up graves to add to his collection. Scully is having a hard time with this case. Seeing all the women killed and desecrated makes her sick. She loses focus and becomes the killer's next victim. This one is a hard watch due to the topic. The male characters are apathetic to the case. They keep talking about the game and Mulder does not realize how much this story is touching Scully. This was a clever way by the director to show the loneliness that she feels throughout the episode, in a way representing all women watching. Gillian Anderson makes you empathize with her no matter the gender. Perhaps the serial killer is a little too cartoonish and obvious, but on a second watch I think this makes sense. Most of the horror stories from women start with a guy that looks nice and all, but you feel uneasy and like something is not right. In the end, I think this is an oddly terrifying and realistic depiction of this character. Scully and Mulder are called in by a local New Hampshire sheriff when there is evidence of a satanic cult operating in his town. One teen has already died and paranoia has now gripped everyone there. There is little doubt that a group of teenagers did go off into the woods to perform some type of ceremony, but Scully in particular scoffs at any suggestion that they were anything more than kids acting out. As the investigation progresses, however, it becomes apparent that some of the staff are involved in the devil worship, but the danger Mulder, it turns out, lies outside the group. The episode gives off Satanic Panic vibes from the 80s. It's an okay episode, but for me it aged poorly, mainly for the subject. Satanists are demon worshippers with actual paranormal powers. The effects are well done, but the story is tame. I would have given it a higher score, but I found the ending a bit dull. Scully and Mulder investigated the death of a Marine working at a Haitian refugee camp. He drove his car into a tree and his death has been ruled as suicide, but the man's wife simply doesn't believe he would have done that. Their investigation unearths rumors that the camp commander, Colonel Worthorn, may be systematically abusing some of the detainees. There are also rumors of voodoo and curses, and neither agent is prepared. They get help from a young lad in the camp, Chester Bonaparte, but there are secrets in the camp that they may never solve. Mr. X, Seasons 2 Deep Truth, warns Mulder that the military may be behind it all.
In case you haven't noticed, Agent Mulder, the Statue of Liberty is on vacation.
God, I hate episodes like this. The Haitian culture is the next to be butchered. Look, I know absolutely zero about Haiti. Someone can tell me that this voodoo stuff is done very well, but again, it's based on people with strong cultures being used as props. They are not people, not really. They are magic people. Nah. Mulder and Scully decide to investigate when they anonymously receive 3 newspaper obituaries for 3 men who appear to be identical. All of them worked in abortion clinics, and they were not brothers. Unbeknown to them, an alien craft immobilized a US submarine patrolling under the Arctic ice, and there is now an alien bounty hunter on the loose, committing the murders. Mulder's world is turned upside down, however, when he receives an urgent call from his father, telling him to come home. Once there, he finds a young woman in the living room talking to his mother. It's his sister Samantha, who was kidnapped by aliens 21 years ago. She tells him that they are being hunted by an alien and that her life is in danger. Scully is surprised when Mulder calls her, because Mulder is standing in the room with her. This episode goes all in on what an X-Files fan wants to see. Endgame picks up right where it left. Samantha tells her brother about the shape-shifting alien bounty hunter and why he is out to kill all of them. With Scully taken prisoner again, Mulder arranges to swap his sister for her. Snipers are in the woods to take out the alien creature, but it does not go well. The swap takes place on a bridge, and while Scully is safe, Samantha and the bounty hunter fall into the waters below. Mulder's father gives him an envelope Samantha had left for him, and as a result, he goes to a woman's health clinic in Maryland. There he gets a greater understanding of what is really going on, but not really.
She was the first, the one from which we all came, the one you must save.
Savior.
You must help us. You have no choice.
No, I do have a choice. My choice is to walk out of here.
We know where your sister is. Ask yourself, Agent Mulder, how else would we know so much about her?
When Mulder disappears, it's Assistant Director Skinner who goes the extra mile to find where he's gone.
Excuse me. Did you tell her what she needed to know? How hard do you want to make this? No harder than it has to be. I've killed men for far less. You pull that trigger, you'll be killing 2 men. Now I want to know where Mulder is.
Colony and Endgame are the crossroads where the creators decide to be exuberant and outspoken. A choice I appreciate, because I find silly those TV shows in which they never show the creature at the center of the story. Many reviews lament that they started to show too much, that there is nothing left to the imagination, but I honestly think this is the best choice for this show in particular. It doesn't take itself 100% seriously, not always at least, and so it gives itself more space to be fun, to use costumes and props meant to just shock you and entertain you, which again I think it works, but I also see that it's not for everybody. Our favorite TV couple investigates strange occurrences when an invisible force seems to wreck the downtown of Fairfield, Idaho, and an elephant from the local zoo is found lying on the highway some 40 miles away. No one at the zoo can figure out how the elephant got out of its locked enclosure, and animal rights activists have been active in condemning the way the zoo treats its animals. It's not the first time animals have escaped or disappeared from the Fairfield Zoo, but when an animal activist is mauled by an invisible tiger, they know they are dealing with something no one can explain. Cully determines that the elephant and the tiger had been pregnant, leading Mulder to believe that the animals are perhaps being abducted by aliens.
You ask Agent Mulder what he thinks happened. He seems to have a novel theory. Maybe it was alien abduction.
First of all, what is an Idaho?
Well, working 3 jobs, living out of the car. Mama never told me life would get this hard. Running around the world playing my guitar. Baby, you can love me, you can leave me, I'm a honky-tonk star. Yeah, a honky-tonk star. Yeah, I'm a honky-tonk star.
This is one of the lowest rated episodes because, as you can hear from the synopsis, it's fucking boring, and no Oscar-worthy director can salvage this script. After a US destroyer vanishes for 42 hours, a group of sailors are rescued, but all have aged tremendously. All but one quickly die, and the survivor is under guard in a military hospital. Mulder's archive has reports of a number of ships disappearing in the same area just off Norway. He believes it's all related to the Navy's World War II era Philadelphia experiment, where the government was trying to find a way to make ships invisible to radar.
Are you suggesting that the Philadelphia experiment used alien technology?
Well, less than 9 months after the alleged crash of a UFO in Roswell, New Mexico, the USS Eldridge did more than just hide from radar screens. It disappeared altogether from the Philadelphia Navy Yard, only to reappear minutes later hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia.
They find the missing ship, the USS Ardent, in the Norwegian Sea, abandoned and with all of its crew dead, but one, the captain. Both the ship and the captain are quite old, and they seem to have gone through some type of time anomaly. Cully has a scientific explanation for what has happened, but they are going to have to solve the mystery quickly as they begin to age rapidly. A very enigmatic episode that keeps you engaged with a powerful premise to then waste everything and leave you empty. They are literally dying, they are ready to die, you are wondering how they will survive. And the answer? They just get saved by the military. No much thought about it, no clever solution, just saved when the episode had to end. This was an ass episode, man. This is such a waste, it was so good. So I'm binge watching season 2, right? And I'm pretty bummed by the feel of this season. A very grim and heavy season with heavy topics, and out of nowhere, with Humbug, the writers decide to do a comedic spin, a dark comedy.
Not having known the deceased personally, I'm in no position to perform a proper eulogy. I'm sure he was a nice guy, etc., etc. But as an admirer of the man's work, I am in a position to perform an impromptu tribute in his honor, namely ramming this spike into my chest! Oh!
Crazy, don't you have any respect at all?
I think I hit my left ventricle! Get back, fascist!
I can't wait for the wake.
On paper, it's pretty basic. The strange death of a circus sideshow attraction in Gibsontown, Florida, leads Mulder and Scully on a bizarre whodunit adventure into the world of the performing arts. Was the killer the Fiji mermaid, the dog-faced boy, or any of the town's other inhabitants?
I tell my audiences that if they're stupid enough to try this themselves, they'll end up with a slight lobotomy. I am a professional.
Exactly how does one become a professional, blockhead, may I?
For instance, did you know that through the protective Chinese practice of Tu Bushan, you can train your testicles to drop into your abdomen?
Oh, I'm doing that as we speak.
It's out of pocket and surprising that I honestly had a great time. Definitely one of those episodes that stand out, and I think the success of this episode is the absurd jokes and characters treated pretty fairly even for today's standards.
Just because it's human nature to make instantaneous judgments of others based solely upon their physical appearances? Well, I've done the same thing to you, for example. I've taken in your all-American features, your dour demeanor, your unimaginative necktie design, and concluded that you work for the government. An FBI agent. But you see the tragedy here? I have mistakenly reduced you to a stereotype, a caricature, instead of regarding you as a specific, unique individual.
But I am an FBI agent.
Register here, please.
A 2-year-old boy in a Virginia park brutally dies in mysterious circumstances. It looks like a ghostly figure lured him onto train tracks. Mulder and Scully investigate despite an existing official inquiry, and become testimonies of a series of increasingly gruesome incidents, for evil follows evil. The writers go for a double kill in season 2, and Romanian culture is the next to be spit upon. Once again, I wonder why American writers insist on depicting cultures which they don't even care to open a book about, or hell, just talk to people of that culture. The Romanians are treated like everybody in their village is sacrificing chickens to kill evil. One thing in particular that made me roll my eyes was this line.
Superstitions rule Golda's life. She'll spit when anyone compliments the kids. Once she moved in with us, she started pouring hot water over the threshold to ward off demons, tying red strings around the kids' wrists.
It's treated like some sort of gross or vile thing to do. People really do spit, but usually air spit, and nobody's spitting inside their houses. But they do it to avoid the evil eye. It's an anti-evil eye, because many people when see cute babies and stuff, they are afraid to curse them involuntarily. It's dumb superstition, I know, but it isn't that crazy. Many countries do have them. And some, to enjoy this episode, un pahar de vin poate ajuta. Once again, a wasted opportunity. When a package with the infected contents releases the virus on its inmate recipient, a dozen prisoners contract it, and Mulder and Scully are mysteriously called in to help. What they find demands the truth to be told to the public, but that's the one thing they cannot do.
Mulder and Scully?
That's right. We have orders to work with the federal marshals on this manhunt.
Either you two ever run an escaped convict operation?
No.
Well, then you'd be a real big help if you just tried to stay out of the way.
It's cool to see where Hank's career started. This episode was perfect to watch during COVID-19. Highly recommended for the next pandemic. Please be careful watching this one. It's fucking gross, man. 3 deaths have occurred around Richmond, Virginia. The only traces which each of the victims seems to have left behind are black scorch marks of unknown origin. Mulder and Scully are called in by an old student of hers, and the search for the truth begins in its shadow. No, literally. This one is easy. If his shadow touches you, you die. This is an okay Monster of the Week episode. Nothing much to say except this is Vince Gilligan's debut episode. The writer of Breaking Bad, of course. He will write for the next season of X-Files, elevating the quality of the show, so please stay tuned. Reports of foxfire on a field in Dudley, Arkansas lead Mulder and Scully to a bizarre situation regarding the townsfolk. Employees of the Chaco Chicken Corporation are displaying bizarre behavior, and the death rate is slowly increasing. Another generic chapter of Season 2. It's okay. Scully gets kidnapped for the 4th time this season, so I guess you can watch it for the memes. A man known as the Thinker has hacked into the US Department of Defense mainframe and uncovered 50 years worth of proof that the government has been dealing with aliens. Mulder and Scully race against time to distinguish truth from lies, uncover the secrets and survive them. Cancerman meets with Mulder's dad, where we learn that he is very involved in the big lie. Or at least was. This episode is wild.
No, you can't come home. Somebody shot through your window tonight. They almost killed me. Where are you?
shot him. And he's dead.
Mulder, where are you? Just tell me where you are.
I'm on the vineyard.
Who shot him, Mulder?
I don't know.
Mulder, were you arguing?
I didn't do it, Scully. He was trying to tell me something.
Mulder, I believe you. Just listen to me. You've got to get out of there. You have to leave immediately.
I can't leave the crime scene. It'll look like I'm running. Like I'm guilty.
Mulder, they're gonna suspect you anyway. You've got no ID on the shooter. Your behavior has been irrational lately. Mulder, can't you see that everything is pointing directly at you?
You're showing somebody else's weapon.
Damn it, Mulder, you're an FBI agent. You have access to weapons other than your own.
Mulder is acting really strange and this man might be responsible. Luckily, Scully knows how to cure Mulder.
Don't shoot him! Just back away!
You killed my father, Scully!
I have him, Mulder!
No, Scully!
Didn't give me much choice. You were about to kill Krychek.
Why'd you shoot me? He's the one.
If he is, then his weapon is probably the same one that killed your father.
What are you talking about?
If you killed Krychek with that weapon, there would have been no way to prove that you didn't kill your father.
He finally reaches the alien site where there is a mass grave of alien bodies and we get to actually see them.
Unexpected.
What do you mean?
I'm in a boxcar, buried inside a quarry. There are bodies everywhere.
Bodies?
Stacked floor to ceiling.
What happened to them?
I don't know.
And then Mulder dies. That's a 90s cliffhanger for ya. This episode is exciting and everything people love about the X-Files. The only problem is how the Native American culture is managed. Again, I know that Wikipedia did not exist, but damn, encyclopedias did.
It was Anasazi. It means the ancient aliens.
Navajo culture expert cannot read the language. What the fuck? How convenient. And the old wise Navajo man is again more of a mystic guide than a real person.
In the desert, things find a way to survive. Secrets are like this too. They push their way up through the sands of deception so men can know them.
But if you can close an eye on this representation, it's a really great episode. Season 2 is a gigantic hit or miss. I see they experimented with being more dark and heavy, but the show doesn't do well when it's this dark. Blood is about Excelsis Dei treats like a boy stealing candy. Aubrey is a mess with gruesome murders, and Irrsesistable is about a very disturbed serial killer that treats women like disposable toys. In the Calusari, we see a toddler being brutally killed. This season is wild, and out of nowhere, a dark comedy. Humbug is a new direction for the X-Files, a direction that might be the right for this show. Early season 2 is weak, we wait for the X-Files to be reinstated, and it feels like a chore. Overall, season 2 is quite good if you compare it to season 1, but the score has to be interpreted. Season 2, you can say, has more character. X-Files thrives in balance. Duane Barry is one of the best episodes of the season, managing to play with all the aspects of the show that we like. There is always this feeling of uncertainty that you can't trust anyone. So when the show decides to show aliens and clones and the actual truth, you are left disoriented and the balance changes. Now that you have seen the aliens, you can ask yourself, why are they hiding them? And what is the purpose of all of this? Thus captivating and alluring you into season 3. Please comment, tell me whatever is on your mind, I don't know, cookies, murder, Mulder,